Have you thought what you should not do in a webinar? I'm Elliot, and today I'm going to tell you just that. I've only recently begun my journey with webinars, and I just want to share how to avoid crashing and burning. Too broad of a topic can be dangerous. The risk that this might draw in the wrong type of viewers, or that ones that you don't want, or that the webinar's message might not be apparent. Consider your objectives and the target audience you want to reach before the webinar. This frequently provides a solid starting point for defining the title. For instance, you want to draw in new investors. The phrase, "a webinar about investment," might be a bit too broad. Suggest something like 5 steps to start your investment journey, perhaps instead. It's a good idea to identify the intended audience in the title so that the readers can determine its intent right away. It would be better to film a video if all you wanted to do was communicate. A webinar has the advantage of allowing for audience participation. People also want to take part in the webinar. A poll question at the start of the webinar is also a good method to include everyone in the story right away. Naturally, you can ask the experts the questions at any time throughout the webinar by using the live chat feature. If you don't get questions directly from the audience right away, always have a few questions ready to ask at the start of the conversation. Always adhere to the start and end times specified for the webinar whilst planning it. Participants will more than likely leave if the process goes on for too long. It would be unfortunate if they missed the crucial, helpful, and most important part, the call to action or survey at the end. A webinar involves a lot of interaction with the participants in addition to simply disseminating information. It is recommended to dedicate at least 45 minutes to material during an hour-long webinar and 15 minutes for participant engagement. If you don't have any prior experience for speaking in front of a camera or leading a webinar, make sure you've done your homework and are ready. Make sure that the narratives are well related and that everyone considers the interaction during the webinar if you're doing the webinar with different speakers. I know for myself that people will leave if it becomes too salesy. If people didn't have empathy for your brand, well, they simply wouldn't be watching the webinar right now, would they? They're looking for accurate information, and that's where you've got to be. If it's not too forceful, it will work way better. Nevertheless, it's advised to include a call to action at the conclusion of the webinar because people want to interact with you if they are interested. The call to action should be somewhat humorous. For instance, is this important to you? Do you want to learn more? This link now allows you to schedule a free introductory call. Maintain your sympathy throughout. The announcement was once published in a newsletter. That is simply insufficient. Almost typically, it takes numerous exposures for a message to sink in. Send the initial invitation at least 2 weeks prior to the webinar and then do more reminders in the days leading up to it, in my opinion. It works very well to send the final reminder on the day of the webinar or at least the day before. Your look should suit who you are. It should not be an act. So if you always wear jeans, just do it in the studio. You'll be much more recognizable to potential clients. Is your webinar during an important football game, Easter Monday, or is your target audience at an important conference? Time it better. Check all calendars for any possible overlap. It'll definitely prevent any disappointment. There's always a possibility to watch the webinar afterwards, but of course nothing beats the live experience. Who wouldn't want to watch me live? Do you think you'll utilize these points during your next webinar? It's quite easy to fall into the trap of continuing a bad habit, so make your webinars pop and be the talk of the community for days or even weeks to follow. Since you've stayed until the end, you've actually won a prize. Just kidding, but you can do me a huge favor with liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. For a complete list of our webinars, head over here And because YouTube knows you better than yourself, sometimes it will tell you what you want to watch here.